The studio lights were warm and forgiving, the kind designed to smooth edges and soften truths, but something brittle snapped the moment the question landed. Keanu Reeves had settled into the couch with his familiar humility, shoulders relaxed, hands loosely folded, smiling the way he always did, like he was grateful simply to be there. The audience adored him before he'd spoken a word. Applause lingered longer than usual, and Kelly Clarkson beamed at him with the ease of someone who knew this was going to be a good show. The kind that trended, the kind producers dreamed about. At first, everything moved the way it always did. They joked about his latest film, about fans who still called him the internet's boyfriend, about how he somehow managed to stay untouched by scandal in an industry addicted to it. Keanu laughed softly, deflecting praise, redirecting credit to crews, stunt teams, writers, anyone but himself. His voice stayed calm, steady, almost soothing. He spoke slowly, choosing words with care, like someone who believed language mattered. Kelly leaned forward, playful energy dancing in her eyes. "So," she said, tapping her cue card, "there's been a lot of talk online about a project you were attached to, and then suddenly weren't." The audience murmured, already intrigued. Keanu's smile didn't disappear, but it tightened, just a fraction. "Yeah," he said gently, "sometimes things don't line up, and that's okay." Normally, that would have been enough. But daytime television thrived on momentum, and momentum demanded more. Kelly laughed, waving a hand. "Come on, you can tell us. People want to know what happened." The band punctuated the moment with a light riff. The crowd chuckled. Keanu shifted slightly on the couch, crossing his ankle over his knee, eyes lowering for a brief second before lifting again. "I'd rather not," he said, still polite, still composed. The warmth in the room flickered. Not gone, just altered. Kelly tilted her head, smiling wider, the way hosts did when they were about to press without seeming like they were pressing. "But it was a big deal," she said. "Creative differences, money, a clash with the director." The audience leaned in. Phones vibrated backstage as social media managers sensed something brewing. Keanu exhaled, slow and measured. "I think we spend too much time turning disagreements into drama," he replied. "It's not fair to the people involved." His tone was calm, but firmer now, like a door being closed carefully rather than slammed. A few audience members applauded, unsure if that was the correct response. Kelly laughed again, but this time it landed awkwardly, bouncing off the edges of the room. Okay, she said, hands up. "I get that, but fans feel invested. They supported the idea. Don't they deserve an explanation?" The word deserve lingered. Keanu's eyes narrowed slightly, not in anger, but in concentration. He looked at Kelly, really looked at her, as if weighing whether this was a misunderstanding or something else entirely. "Fans deserve honesty," he said. "They don't deserve gossip." The band didn't play this time. The pause stretched. Producers exchanged glances behind the cameras. This wasn't hostile, not yet, but it was drifting off script, slipping out of the neat, cheerful rhythm daytime shows relied on. Kelly shifted in her chair, sensing it too, but pushing forward anyway. "Some people say walking away hurt the project," she said. "That it left a lot of people hanging." That was the moment the air truly changed. Keanu's posture straightened, spine aligning, hands resting flat on his knees. His voice didn't rise, but it sharpened. "That's not true," he said. "In repeating it makes it true in people's minds." A ripple went through the audience. This wasn't the easygoing Keanu they expected, the endlessly agreeable guest who laughed things off. This was someone drawing a line. Kelly opened her mouth, then closed it, then tried again. "I'm just saying what's out there," she replied, half defensive, half smiling. "We're talking about it anyway, so let's talk responsibly," Keanu cut in, still calm, but unmistakably firm. The interruption stunned the room. He rarely interrupted anyone. That was part of his legend. "I agreed to come here to talk about work I'm proud of," he continued. "Not to dismantle people who aren't here to defend themselves." Applause broke out, scattered at first, then stronger. Kelly laughed, a little too loudly, as if to brush it aside. "Wow," she said. "Okay, serious Keanu." The joke didn't land. The audience clapped again, louder this time. Somewhere off camera, a producer made a slicing motion across his throat, the universal signal to move on. Kelly nodded, forcing a reset. "All right," she said quickly. "Let's switch gears." But the reset didn't take. The energy had shifted too far. Keanu nodded as well, appreciative, but the ease was gone. He answered the next question, then the next, but something essential had been cracked open. His answers grew shorter, more deliberate. The audience felt it, sensing they were witnessing something unscripted, something real. Then Kelly circled back, almost unconsciously. Still, she said, smiling, it's not every day someone like you walks away from something that big. The words hung there, heavy and unavoidable. Keanu looked at her, then out at the audience, then back again. His voice was quiet, but it carried. I didn't walk away, he said. I chose peace. The room went silent. No laughter, no music, just the hum of lights and the collective breath of hundreds of people holding still. Keanu's expression wasn't angry, it was tired. And I won't argue about that, he added. For a brief, fragile second, it seemed like the moment might pass, that they might glide past the tension and land safely back in friendly territory. But the line had already been crossed, and everyone in the room knew it. The interview wasn't just an interview anymore. It was a standoff between boundaries and broadcast, between a man protecting his principles and a show built on pushing just a little further. Keanu shifted forward, hands moving toward the microphone clipped to his jacket, not yet removing it, just touching it, as if considering something. The audience watched, breathless, sensing that whatever came next would not be part of the plan. Keanu's fingers rested against the mic for a moment longer than necessary, the small gesture magnified by the silence in the room. Kelly noticed it too. She shifted in her chair, legs crossing and uncrossing, smile returning in a careful, practiced way. Hey, she said lightly, we're all good here. The words were meant to soothe, to steer the ship back toward safer waters. But ships that drift too far don't always turn on command. Keanu released the mic and leaned back, eyes thoughtful. I know, he replied. And I appreciate that. His voice softened, almost apologetic. A few people in the audience exhaled, relieved. Maybe that was it. Maybe the moment had peaked and would gently fade. The bandleader raised a hand, ready to cue something upbeat if needed. Kelly nodded quickly. So, she began, glancing at her cards, your new film explores loss and resilience, right? She smiled again, broader now, trying to re-establish rhythm. Keanu nodded, speaking about grief, about choosing compassion over bitterness, about stories that reminded people they weren't alone. The audience listened, rapt. This was the Keanu they loved. Reflective, grounded, sincere. Applause returned, warmer this time, and for a few minutes the tension loosened its grip. But backstage, producers whispered urgently. The clip was already spreading online. Someone had pulled the "I chose peace" line and slapped dramatic captions over it. Engagement numbers ticked upward by the second. A producer tapped Kelly's earpiece, murmuring instructions. Wrap soon. Move to commercial. Keep it light. Kelly laughed at one of Keanu's remarks, a genuine sound this time. You always make things deeper than we expect, she said. That's why people connect with you. Keanu smiled, appreciative, but there was a distance in his eyes now, as if part of him had already stepped outside the room. As the segment wound down, Kelly leaned in for the final question, the safe one, the promotional closer. What do you hope audiences feel when they leave the theater? She asked. Keanu paused, considering. I hope they feel kinder, he said. To themselves. To others. The audience applauded again, standing this time. It should have ended there. But live television rarely respects should. As the applause continued, Kelly stood as well, clapping along, and said over the noise, you know, we could all use a little more of that, especially online. The remark was offhand, but it landed like a spark on dry grass. Keanu's smile faded. He waited for the applause to die down before responding. That's exactly why I didn't want to do this, he said quietly. Kelly froze, half standing, half sitting. Do what? She asked, though she already knew. Turn a conversation into a confrontation, Keanu replied. His tone wasn't accusatory, just firm. It happens so easily, and it stays forever. The audience murmured again, caught between admiration and discomfort. This was no longer about a movie or a rumor. It was about the moment itself, unfolding in real time. Kelly straightened, professionalism kicking in like armor. Keanu, we're just talking, she said. No one's attacking you. The words were reasonable, but the undercurrent wasn't. Keanu nodded slowly. I know, he said. But I am being asked to explain boundaries I've already set. And I don't want to do that on a stage. He stood then, smoothly, deliberately. The movement sent a jolt through the studio. Audience members gasped. The bandleader's hand dropped. Kelly reached out instinctively, palm open. Hey, she said, her voice softer now, real concern breaking through. "We're live." Keanu smiled sadly. "That's part of the problem," he replied. He turned to the audience, bowing his head slightly. "Thank you for listening," he said. "I'm grateful." Applause erupted, louder than before, some people standing again, others looking around in confusion, unsure whether to clap or stay silent. A producer hurried onto the edge of the stage, gesturing frantically. Kelly stepped closer to Keanu, lowering her voice. "We can talk during the break," she whispered. "Please." For a split second, it looked like he might agree. His shoulders relaxed, just a little. Then he shook his head. "I don't think that would help," he said gently. He reached up and unclipped the mic. The sound echoed in the speakers, a sharp, final click. Gasps rippled through the audience. Kelly's face went pale, then flushed. She laughed reflexively, a habit built over years of smoothing rough moments. "Wow," she said. "Okay." The laugh faltered. Security hovered uncertainly, unused to this kind of exit. Keanu stepped past them without a word, moving toward the side of the stage. A producer leaned in, speaking quickly, urgently. Keanu listened, nodded once, then continued walking. The cameras cut to Kelly, who forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Well," she said, voice bright but strained, "we're going to take a quick break." But it was too late. Viewers at home had already seen everything. Clips multiplied instantly, framed as rebellion, as disrespect, as integrity, depending on who shared them. Hashtags formed before the commercial ended. Some praised him for standing his ground. Others accused him of overreacting, of embarrassing the host, of forgetting it was a show. Backstage, Keanu moved through the hallway quietly, escorted now, not aggressively, but with a clear sense of urgency. Crew members watched him pass, some nodding, some avoiding eye contact. One whispered, "Good for you." Another shook his head. Keanu didn't respond. He kept walking, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. In Kelly's dressing room, she sank onto the couch, head in her hands as producers talked over one another. "We lost control," someone said. "He blindsided us," said another. Kelly looked up, eyes glassy but steady. "No," she said. "We pushed." The room went quiet. Outside the studio, Keanu stepped into the afternoon light, the noise of the city rushing back in. His phone buzzed nonstop in his pocket. He didn't check it. He paused for a moment, breathing deeply, as if shedding the weight of the room he'd left behind. Whatever the fallout would be, and he knew there would be fallout, he had made his choice. By evening, headlines declared he'd been kicked off the show, though the truth was murkier. Statements were drafted, revised, softened. Kelly addressed it the next day, measured and emotional, admitting things got more intense than planned. Keanu released a short note thanking fans and reiterating his belief in respectful dialogue. It didn't stop the debate. But for many watching, the moment lingered not as scandal, but as something rarer, a reminder that even in spaces designed for entertainment, lines still mattered. And that sometimes, walking away wasn't an act of anger at all, but the quiet insistence on being heard without being exposed.